Hello and welcome to the Ideas by Mike podcast with your host, Mike Milligan. I'm Wendy McConnell. Well, hello there, Mike. How are you?
Wendy, I'm so excited to introduce our Ideas by Mike audience to January. January joined our team in January this year. She is a retirement income specialist, but she is more than just a financial professional. She's a mother, a wife of a veteran. She's an author. She hosts a podcast with one of her friends called Sexy Freedom Media. And so I'm excited to explore today who January is and talk about the impact she's going to make on our team. So January, welcome to Ideas by Mike. And tell everybody why you became a financial professional.
So it started off when my son was 6 weeks old and my husband was deployed to Qatar. So I was a single mom for that first year. And a lot of military moms can attest to that. And prior to that, before I was married, I owned Milestones Video Production. So I edited, videotaped weddings, birthdays, graduations. So I was very much an entrepreneur and really loved that space. And then when I became a mom, I felt like I lost myself. I wasn't sure who I was. And a few years ago, we're going to my 4th year, a friend of mine asked, "What are you doing for your retirement?" And I said, I didn't even think about that because as a mom, we're so focused on the children, the household, our husbands, and retirement was so far from my mind. But I realized that was something I really need to start thinking about. And as I was thinking about that, my friend said, you'd be great at this and you'd be great in the finance industry. And so a lot of us women will say, I'm not good at math. And I realized that I was putting a limiting belief on myself. And I'm the type of person that wants to be a better version of myself. And so I just said, you know what? I'm going to do it. Let me just try it. So I got licensed and I've just been loving this space. So that's really my origin story. And I should say, I made a lot of financial mistakes. So I made a lot of financial mistakes. Even when I started earning more money, I made a lot of financial mistakes, and I felt, what better way to keep myself accountable and to learn more about this industry than to actually be in it and be around professionals and other people who have made a beautiful life for themselves and have managed their money wisely. So that's why I'm here.
So you talk about that you personally made mistakes, but having gotten to know you, you're also wanting to prevent others from making some of the same mistakes. So let's talk about your work as an author, because it's one of the most inspiring things as a mother, right, to kids, what you have created and what you're doing. Talk to us about the Super Saver.
Thanks for asking, Mike. That's the whole reason why I wrote the book. I wrote the book because I did make a lot of financial mistakes. And it started off when I was younger because I wasn't taught financial literacy as a young child. And because I wasn't taught that, I made all these different mistakes. And I, as an author, want to reach an audience from ages 4 to 12 at a young age where they're sponges, to really think about money and have this good relationship with money at that young age. So my whole mission is to instill healthy money habits starting at a younger age. And so I wrote Alina the Super Saver and absolutely love it. I just had to read aloud yesterday and the kids are just amazing and ask great questions.
What are some, without giving away the book, because we want people to go out and get the book to share. If you're a mother, a father, a grandmother, grandfather, and you want to teach financial literacy to your kids, one of the things about Ideas by Mike partner with January is we now have a tool that you can use that she wrote that you can start teaching financial literacy. Well, without giving away everything that's in that book, what's some advice in the book about teaching kids, how parents can teach kids about money?
One of the main concepts in that book is to plan, that we can't just go willy-nilly and just hope and pray that everything is going to be okay. We actually have to strategize and plan. So that's one of the main concepts in that book. Yeah, so I'm excited because there's going to be 8 books. So this particular book is about saving. The next book is about spending.
So what's interesting about the 8 books, and you live in Hawaii. There are 8 islands in
Yes.
Hawaii, and each of the books is going to have artistic renderings from Hawaii, correct?
Yes, exactly. So that's actually the main reason why the number 8 came about was for the 8 islands. And each of the books is going to have icons or scenes of the different islands. So the first book has a scene of Diamond Head, because obviously I live here in Oahu. The second book also has scenes of Oahu because I wanted to connect more with folks here in Oahu. The next few books are going to have different scenes of the other islands, but yeah, it's very important for me to have this connection, not only for financial literacy, but to connect with the people, which is Hawaii is a very special place. You know, there's all sorts of different cultures here, and they're celebrated here in Hawaii. And it's important for me to include and incorporate the different cultures as well. So not just the islands, but like the different cultures here in Hawaii.
What's really interesting about the book is we have, our office really stretches Maine, Virginia, Florida, all the way out to Hawaii now. And Steve Harlow and Valancy were, who live in Maine half the year in Florida, were in Norfolk in January visiting us. And when we told them about January, Valancy said, "Oh my gosh, that book is in my Amazon cart." So she didn't even know that January, the author, was with us at Ideas by Mike. And she showed us her Amazon book. There it was. She wanted to get it for her granddaughter to be able to teach her about finances. This book is going to be transformational as soon as we get it across the United States. I do believe it. It's going to bring financial literacy to the heart and the soul of those who need to hear it first, the youngest of us, because that's how we're going to change, people's financial future. It brings me to a great question. Why is financial education so critical for families and individuals, January?
The best way that I can share this is through stories. I have a friend whose mom passed away, and she, at the time, this was 3 years ago, at the time she was only 35, so she was young, and mom had passed away, and mom did not have any life insurance. There was no will, there was no estate planning, and she felt like she couldn't breathe. And 2 years later, her father-in-law passed away, and her father-in-law also did not have things set in place for the family. And even more so, there was a flood. So there was a flood, and they're living in their basement. And so not only was she still taking care of mom's debt, she felt like she had a better hold of it. Now her father-in-law passed, and it's the same thing started. So it's like she's starting back from square one. And so for me, financial literacy is vital. It's vital because I'm all about family, and family is important for me. And I, as a parent, would not want my children to suffer my debts, my burial, my everything. I just would not want to put that burden on my children. And so financial literacy is vital because we want to see where our money is flowing, and to make sure that we leave a legacy for our children, and so that they are starting off at a, better than we ever were, and that we don't leave a burden for them.
So let's talk about the burden, right? Because the burden it's real, right? We always talk about people have a current situation, they have a desired outcome, and our job is to help them with the challenges they face to get there. One of those challenges that you are adept at helping people with is minimizing taxes and securing financial freedom. You talked about that in the story, but why is that at the heart of what you want to do?
Well, it's vital because taxes are huge. If somebody has $1 million in their 401k or their IRA, most people think that they have $1 million. Most people think, hey, I'm going to be set because I have $1 million. But what they're not realizing is that they haven't accounted for fees, they haven't accounted for market downturns. And if they have to take out those funds, sooner than 59 and a half, then they're paying that 10% penalty charge. And let's face it, there's multiple times that people are going to face emergencies and they're going to have to dip into their 401k. And so there's a challenge there. And so, when I first started, our whole method was, or our whole mission was ERFT, and ERFT stands for eliminating risk, fees, and taxes. And those are the challenges. The challenges are the risk, the fees, and the taxes. And so it's important for me to minimize taxes because who wants to pay taxes when they're older? I don't really want to pay taxes. And I am a believer of David McKnight. I love his book, The Power of Zero, where he talks about, bringing us to that 0% tax income bracket. And so that's the challenge. Okay, here's another challenge. The challenge is for some people who may not believe in a different strategy or a different asset class other than the 401k. The 401k is something that everyone is used to. Everyone is funneled into it. We're, sheep herded basically into the 401k. And for me, it's a different strategy, right? And so it's hard. That's another challenge is to show people that, hey, there are different asset classes. Yes, you can use your 401k, with a match, but hey, there's another different asset class. And so that's the other challenge is allowing people to see like there's different strategies out there.
Yeah. And that's at Ideas by Mike, we have the one-of-a-kind financial plan because people live a one-of-a-kind life. And what you're talking about fits squarely into that. Let's, as people are continuing to get to know you, let's talk about just some personal growth and impact and what that means to you. So you talked about being a stay-at-home mom. You are an author. You're a mother. You're a wife. You're a financial professional. You're a podcast host. What are some lessons, the key lessons that you've learned being, filling all of those roles?
When you say it like that, there's a lot of roles and there's a lot of hats that I have on. And I think one of the things for me is time management. So time management is huge because there are different layers of who I am. But I love it. And when you love something, it doesn't feel like work. So being an author, being a podcast host, being a financial professional, and of course, a wife and a mom, friends. One of the other things that I have that I didn't mention is that I'm a facilitator for a women's group. So I have a women's group and we discuss different stories that are associated with my faith. So we're reading the book called Overcoming When You Feel Overwhelmed. That's actually our second book. The first book that we completed is called Captivating. And Captivating is about the heart of a woman and how God sees us as a woman. So that's another layer. And, a lot of what I've learned throughout all of these different hats that I play is that we can actually do a lot more than we think we can. And as long as you have a plan, as long as you have time management, and as long as you love what you do, then it doesn't feel like work.
Everything that you're saying, there's got to be some motivation that drives you. And you talked about your faith. And so it's amazing that you could stay as motivated and focused, especially being in Hawaii, right? You have some of the most natural beauty of anywhere out there. What is the one or two things that keep you motivated on a daily basis?
So I always say that God is my CEO, and that's really where I feel that's the reason why I do everything. I do everything because God is watching. God is, he is my father. So God is a very big part of me and what keeps me motivated. And I feel that he has put me here for a reason. There's a purpose, and whatever, even the book, to be honest with you, Mike, the book I feel was a God-driven thing. I felt like he said, do it, just do it. And it was February of last year. I woke up, I made that decision because I heard, this whisper, and I heard, okay, he says to do the book, I'm going to do the book. And so that's really how I operate is, my faith and my relationship with God. And, even with business, I feel like with business, it's really not about the money. It's, that's not why I do what I do. There's actually a bigger purpose, and that's really to help. And that's really where I lie is just, I enjoy helping people. It gives me joy. And I feel that being in all of those different facets or hats, it's allowing me to make an impact.
Your podcast is called Sexy Freedom Media.
Yes.
Talk to our listeners about the purpose of that podcast and how it's contributed to your personal mission to help others.
So Sexy Freedom Media was actually created by Helen Edwards, who's my best friend. And the way that I met Helen was through a picture. So I saw her profile picture and I said, "Oh, who's this woman?" She was wearing a Wonder Woman suit. And I said, "I need to know this woman." And so I just reached out to her and said, "Hey, I wanted to connect." And that was that was 4 years ago. And she hosted a audition for to become a co-host, and there were 4 of us. She chose me, and so we have been best friends ever since. And we see each other every single week. And we have guests, authors, publishers. We do have a resident psychiatrist. A lot of what we talk about is mindset, growth, empowering women, finances, and just having fun. Because at the end of the day, I mean, who wants to live a life that's not fun, right? So we have a lot of fun on our podcast.
So January, you're very successful, right? Wearing all of the hats that we've talked about. So why join a team like Ideas by Mike? Why come be a part of what we're doing?
Mike, when we met in 2023 through Juicebox, there was something special about you. And I really enjoyed listening to you when we had those meetings in the morning, maybe in afternoon, your time. But I enjoyed listening to you talk and your knowledge of the industry. And one of the things that drew me was your calmness. You're very calm. You're very just even keel about everything. And to me, I needed that. I needed that in my life. I needed that calmness. I needed that stability. I needed to grow. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to grow with Ideas by Mike, is because you've been in the industry for much longer than me, and you know much more than me, have more experience than me. And I feel like I'll be a better version of a financial professional if I learn through you. So that's part of the reason. And then when I met you and your team, then I fell even more in love, because your team is just phenomenal. Our team, because I'm a part of it now. And I just enjoy everybody on that team. I've had one-on-one conversations with each of them, and I can tell that everyone's supporting each other and just being transparent. And that's huge for me, is being transparent and putting everything on the table. So that's why I joined Ideas by Mike.
Yeah. And what I love about our partnership and our work that we're going to do together is really Ideas by Mike, this dynamic financial planning firm that we've created that creates one-of-a-kind financial plans for people's one-of-a-kind life, is now, it's not just coast to coast, it's coast to island, right? And there's something that people say in Hawaii about when are your feet going to hit the sand? And it's very much, Hawaii is about family. It's about transparency. It's about community. And we are so excited to be a part there. I want to give you a chance, January, as we're wrapping up, what is some advice you would give listeners to take control of their finances?
I would suggest that you audit your finances. So like I tell my friends, I say, I bank every day. And I bank every day because I want to see where my finances are going. I want to see, where is it flowing, and just keep that accountable. Because if I just let it go and just not look at where it's at, then I could potentially lose money and really not be accountable for what I want as far as my goals. So really just to bank every day, make sure you're looking at your finances and see where your money is flowing.
The book, being an author, is important. If you don't mind, tell everybody where they can purchase the book.
Awesome. So you can purchase my book on Amazon.com, Walmart.com, BarnesandNobles.com. If you are in Indiana, it's at Open Door Bookstore. If you're in Wyoming, it's at Windy City Bookstore.
And the name of the book, give everybody the full title.
The name of the book is Alina the Super Saver.
Does Alina represent anybody in your life?
So Alina is actually the middle name of my daughter. My daughter's name is Jasmine Alina. We call her Nina, but Alina is her middle name, and she's the inspiration for this book because she and I just have great fun. And what I'd like to instill in my children is that, hey, you have to start now. You have to start now. So the book was about, or is about other children, but really it's also about my own children to help them so that they'll be better stewards of their money when they're older.
So we're on a mission at Ideas by Mike to be different, to help those who don't fit the mold of traditional financial advisors so that we can make an impact. Alina, the super saver, is going to help that generation that's often never thought about when it comes to savings, yet has the most potential. And so we're looking forward to not only seeing that book become a bestseller in the children's section, but we're also looking for January to be a rock star. Her role with us is going to be to meet clients where they are, to get to know them, ask the questions why money's important to you, and then build a relationship so that then our team of planners can come and help you implement a one-of-a-kind financial plan. January, people can get in touch with you on our website at Ideas by Mike, ideasbymike.com. You also have an Instagram, correct?
I have a personal Instagram. You can find me January Liddell on Instagram. You can find me January Liddell on LinkedIn and on Facebook. If you Google my name, you can find me.
Yeah. And so we want people to connect with you because your passion for as a mother is inspiration for people who are trying to balance life. As the wife of a veteran, you understand what it means for those who are deployed or those who are coming out of service. As an author and a podcast host, wow, right? You're balancing multiple hats. But as a financial professional, you can help people create a one-of-a-kind financial plan for their one-of-a-kind life. So to connect with us again, ideasbymike.com. And in the About section, you'll see January there. If you hit contact and the contact us at the top and you put your information in and you want to speak to January, just put in the notes, meeting with January. For more information on Ideas by Mike, the firm, you can go to YouTube at Ideas by Mike, LinkedIn, at Ideas by Mike, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all the socials. We are so looking forward to connect with people, having January make an impact, because we are here to create one-of-a-kind financial plans for your one-of-a-kind life. We'll see you next time.
I have to tell you, Mike, that the more I meet on your team, the more lovely they seem. So thank you, January, for being here today. Thank you, Mike, and thank you for listening. Please like, follow, and share this podcast with your friends. Until next time, I'm Wendy McConnell.
Thank you for tuning in to Ideas by Mike, the podcast, the show where ideas turn into money. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to click the follow button to stay up to date on future releases. For additional information on becoming a part of the Ideas by Mike community, check out our website at ideasbymike.com. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes. And for more financial insights, subscribe to the Ideas by Mike YouTube channel or visit the website to find one of the upcoming webinars. Also, connect on Instagram or Facebook at Ideas by Mike. Ideas by Mike is an LLC headquarters in Virginia with offices in 42 cities. The company owns an insurance agency registered in all states directly or through affiliate companies. Mike is an investment advisor representative with JB Wealth Advisors. Any financial planning information shared on the show should not be construed as financial advice for you personally. For your one-page financial plan, please reach out to Ideas by Mike through the website. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Ideas by Mike. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investment advice. Any financial planning information shared on the show should not be construed as financial advice for you personally. For your one-page financial plan, please reach out to Ideas by Mike through the website.